My first days, um, well, it was inducted at Omaha. Then we took a train to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and that's where I did basic training. Um, I was kind of held up for a couple of weeks um, before we actually started, excuse me, basic training. Some of us were chosen to go to they called the NCO Academy to be assistant drill instructors during the basic training. So we had kind of a crash course there, and I don't know if it was because of probably our age and experience prior to being in the Army. So that's what I recall there. For a while we were just waiting to go, they had to give me a job to do, so I tested hearing. And then my next job was when the new recruits got there, I marched them over to the barber shop for their fashionable haircuts. And after that, we started actual basic training. A lot of routine stuff. In the beginning, just learning how to, obey the orders. And then we had a lot of, PT, physical training. We did every morning. Then we went through several courses, obstacle courses, physical training, and then to the rifle range, where we qualified for rifle. To be real honest, my feeling about the enemy was I didn't like them very much. They didn't like us either. I felt at the time that we had a definite mission. It was important that we were there to help the South Vietnamese and to keep the spread of communism in that part of the world. Today, well, if the U.S., if the forces would have been allowed to continue on as regular fighting force, we probably would have been an altogether different outcome. But consequently, it was being micromanaged from several thousand miles away, and well, I guess we all know how it eventually turned out after 10 years. Yeah, I wrote home, I don't recall how many times, not too many times, and I'd have time, I'd write a letter home and just describing what the country was like and what we were doing. And that was about all I was able to talk about. Well, I think it's important that everybody knows what we did over there and why we were there. And hopefully there would not be a repeat of that type of situation. If we're going to be in war, let's go to win. I don't know if there's much I can say about that. Yeah, naturally you're going to feel stress, especially when you're going out to some place where you know you might be shot at. Naturally there's a certain amount of maybe quite a bit of stress involved in that situation, but something you just learn to cope with. It becomes an everyday occurrence. My last day over there was, I just knew I was going to be coming back to the States, and got on a small twin-engine plane. I don't remember what it was now. And I flew to Saigon, and then was there for a few days before I was processed and got on the plane to come back to discharge in Oakland, California. And we decided there, the ones of us were together, were leaving there. Once we were discharged, we decided that Oakland, California being close to Berkeley was not a good place to hang out. We'd probably get in some trouble with the protesters. So got on a plane and got out of there. Actually, I flew from Oakland. I went down to Los Angeles to see this old buddy of mine from Fort Benning. Spent a few days there. And then I flew from there I flew to Denver, and then got a plane to Grand Island. And it was just nice to see good old Nebraska again when I got off the plane. When I first got back home here to Aurora, well, prior to being drafted, I was living in Chicago, and I'd gone to school there and was working there for the airlines when I was drafted. And I could have gone back there, and I decided I didn't want to go back to Chicago, so I was here in Aurora for a couple of years. Tried my hand at farming and some other things, and then I decided to go to Denver, where I worked with the electric utility company in Denver. Worked on electric meters until I decided to move back. Well, I met my wife there, and we decided that maybe Nebraska was a good place to raise a family, so I came back here and started farming. Been here ever since. Yes, it influenced me a lot. I am very much pro-military. I think we need to have a very strong military in this country, which I hope that will be able to be brought back to full force, which is very important, not only for us, but for the whole world. Yes, we definitely need that. I could talk a little bit about Agent Orange. We didn't realize what was really happening, what they were doing with Agent Orange, until sometime later, and then found out what the side effects were of Agent Orange, which can be devastating to a lot of people. In recent years, about 14 years ago, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, which is definitely can be caused by Agent Orange. Today, I'm cancer-free. It was all taken care of with surgery. Agent Orange can affect many different health issues, and it needs to be addressed more aggressively than it is today.